What's good, guys? We're going to be doing our UFC 327 reactions here. And man, was that card stacked. First of all, the main event, Carlos Olberg with one of the craziest knockouts I have ever seen in a title fight. Coming in there, beating Yuri, the upset of the year thus far. And let's talk about it. We're going to break down this main card from its roots. We're going to start off with the Cub Swanson fight. Well, Cub Swanson, he went out there in his retirement fight, round one, KOs Nate Landwehr. That was a great way to end off Cub Swanson's Hall of Fame career. He's been in the UFC for so long, and it was a great way to end it. Went out there, knocked out Nate Landwehr in 4 minutes. So I think that was a really good fight for Cub to end his career on. And let's talk about Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker, because boy, that was a snooze fest. Johnny Walker versus Dom Reyes. I mean, where do I even begin? Dominic Reyes wins a split decision over Johnny Walker. And, that was a snooze fest. First of all, we all thought that was going to be the definition of a knockout. I know I definitely did. That was not the definition of a knockout at all. In fact, all they did was just stand at range, feinting. I mean, because they both respect each other's power, and to be honest, did Dom Reyes really even win that fight? I mean, technically he did. I did score 29-28 Reyes. But Walker, he did land some nice low kicks. Joe Rogan obviously was glazing him. But yeah, I'm going to have to say that fight was definitely not a fight I'm going to be remembering forever. But I definitely know this next fight between Curtis Blaydes and Josh Hokett, I'm going to remember forever. Curtis Blaydes and Josh Hokett. These two men frickin' brawled. I mean, Curtis Blaydes, that guy has got a chin on him. So does Josh Hokett. In that first minute, I thought Curtis Blaydes was going to fall down. Because I remember when he fought Tom Aspinall at 304 in London, and he took like a stiff jab from Tom, and he dropped him. That shows you Tom Aspinall's power. But I mean, Curtis Blaydes, he got rocked bad in that first minute against Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett was firing on all cylinders in that first minute. And in the last few minutes of the first round, Curtis Blaydes was laying down. Not laying down, but he was firing all over Josh Hokett. And I ended up scoring the round to Blaydes. Those two men, their cardio was not the best, but I mean, they were still swinging in the third. Second and third round, Hokett, to me, did his thing and ended up doing enough for where I scored it, 29-28 Hokett. I had him edging out the last two rounds. But I honestly think it's crazy the fact that Hokett literally is the biggest trash talker we've seen since Colby Covington. And before that, before the fight, every UFC fan was saying how they hate him, they think he's annoying. Well, guess what? I predicted him to beat Blaydes. Not by decision, but by knockout. But, he brings life and character back to the heavyweight division. And I don't like the fact that people thought that, Blaydes, just because of his experience, is going to go out there and dog walk Josh Hokett. Because I honestly thought it was going to be the opposite. You don't do that if you have that much confidence. You don't talk that much crap if you think you have the tools to win. You're going to talk that crap. If you don't have the tools to win, what's your time wasting? And we're going to get into the next fight with Paulo Costa backing up his trash talk. But we're going to continue because this was one of the greatest UFC fights I think I've ever watched. I mean, they both were swinging for the hills in that fight. Josh Hokett, Curtis Blaydes, they both set a pace in that first round. This is what we want to fight at. For big boys, Curtis Blaydes is 260 compared to Josh Hokett, who's 230. Josh Hokett, he should have the better cardio, but Curtis Blaydes, in my opinion, had the better cardio. He was swinging. Josh Hokett looked like he was drunk half the time. He was stumbling around the octagon. I couldn't tell if Josh Hokett was coming off of a 7-day bender, Josh Hokett, congrats to the guy. He had a great performance with a great win. But, he's going to be fighting Derek Lewis at the White House. I think that's going to be a great addition to the card. The White House card is already stacked how it is. Obviously, it could be better with Islam and Topuria. But, Topuria and Gaethje's still good. But adding Derek Lewis versus adding Derek Lewis versus Josh Hokett is going to just stack the White House card even more. You know, we also got Gable Steveson into the UFC, Olympic gold medalist. That's going to be awesome. The heavyweight division is looking a lot better, and I think that helps with Josh Hokett beating Curtis Blades this weekend at UFC 327, and it does, because he brings life and character back to the heavyweight division. And it's funny how people are hopping on the Josh Hogan bandwagon now when they should have been on the bandwagon right as he got out of the Dana White Contender Series. But you know what? It is what it is. If you were there before the 327 fight, I still count you as a real fan, because these people after the 327 fight, you know, everybody's talking about how, oh, I was a Josh Hokett fan before. No, you weren't. I guarantee you, everybody saying that they were a Josh Hokett fan before 327 were 1,000% rooting against him. They were probably saying, oh, I want Curtis Blades to knock his annoying ass out. But I guarantee you, I wasn't. I know my boys weren't. I know everybody was rooting for Josh Hokett to beat Curtis Blades so we can get new life in this heavyweight division. He is the new Colby Covington. He is the biggest trash talker in the UFC, and I'm so happy that he is now ranked in the top 5 of the heavyweight division. Let's go, Josh Hokett. And shoot, let's go to the co-main event. The co-main event of the evening was Khamzat Murzakanov versus Paulo Costa. And man, I'm upset because deep down, I don't know why I picked Khamzat. I hate the guy. I don't know why I didn't go with my gut. You know, I was right. In my prediction video, I said Paulo Costa was going to do his thing, you know, with body kicks. He was going to stun him, you know, do his thing. But I thought Khamzat was going to catch him. And in that second round, Khamzat did catch him, but he didn't put him down. We never seen Paulo get put down. The only person that has done that to him was Izzy. But man, Paulo had a great performance. The way to beat that Uber driver was to spam body kicks, and he did that to perfection. I think that Khamzat, you know, I don't like the guy, but I'm happy that he lost, because Paulo Costa, I don't know what has he put in the secret juice. These last 2 fights, he looks like prime Paulo, you know? Before that, he was not good at all. But now, all of a sudden, he's got some momentum. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He's now 5th or 6th ranked in the UFC light heavyweight division. Paulo Costa could be getting the next title shot, you know? It really is crazy because, you know, 2 years ago, Paulo Costa, he was in a rut, man. He couldn't get a win for his life. But now, all of a sudden, he's like the #1 contender at 205. And I mean, I think Paulo Costa looked mean. He looked good at 205. And now, I think that's where he should stay. He's rumoring going back down to 185, but why? You look so good at 205. Stay there, fight Olberg, and I think if that fight gets booked, that would be a really crazy fight. But, man, Paulo Costa looked good. The head kicks, I think he broke Khamzat's forearm or arm or something like that. I think that would be a great fight, Olberg versus Costa. But, man, they might even do like an interim title, because I think Olberg's going to be out for a little bit with his Achilles or calf or knee, whatever he did to it. But, man, yeah, Paulo Costa, great performance against Khamzat. 3rd round TKO victory. And let's go to the main event. Main event of the evening. Carlos Olberg knocks out Yuri Prochazka. You had it, Yuri. You had it. You had the fight in your hands, and you blew it. And there's no one to blame but Yuri Prochazka. I mean, man, he literally tore his ACL or tore his Achilles. He did something to his right leg. And you decide to not stop kicking him? It's going to take him off balance. It'll take him down, and you finish the fight. Yuri, all you had to do was just literally keep your guard up, send a few teeps to the body, and spin in circles and go to the round. You would have won 10 times out of 10. I guarantee you the doctor stops the fight. And I don't know what you're doing, man. You let your guard down. You walk right into the check hook. And, man, Yuri, you have only yourself to blame, my friend. Man, I really did think we were going to have Yuri Prochazka as the light heavyweight champion. But, dude, Carlos Olberg with a crazy knockout, man. He stiffly knocked out Yuri Prochazka. I mean, his body was limp. He was stiff as a board. He knocked him out cold. And Yuri Prochazka, you only have yourself to blame, my friend. It's sad, too, because Yuri Prochazka, he's having a daughter soon. I feel bad, but Man, Carlos Ulberg, the Kiwi, goes out there and knocks out Yuri Prochazka in round number 1. I don't even know, like, how I even fathom the fact that Yuri lost, because he had the fight in his hands. All he literally had to do was kick the leg 2 more times, finish the fight, land some ground and pound, or maybe not even. You would have walked away with the belt. I mean, man. Yuri Prochazka, man. What's next for him? I could see him fighting the winner of Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guzkov at 328. But I think Yuri Prochazka is going to take a little bit of time off. He's going to go back to the woods. He's going to spend time with his daughter. I don't think we're going to see Yuri Prochazka for another year and a half. And I don't think we're going to see Carlos Ulberg for another year due to his injury. So I think we're going to have an interim championship in the light heavyweight division, which leaves us with who that might be. I think they're going to book Ankalaev versus Robert Whittaker in Abu Dhabi in July. And I think it's going to be the winner of that fight to fight Paulo Costa in the interim light heavyweight championship of the world at MSG in November. And I think the winner of that is obviously going to fight Carlos Ulberg. But I think that matchmaking makes perfect sense. It's a perfect timeline. And man, did Carlos Ulberg, I mean, that he was moving like Kobe Bryant, man. I don't know how he was standing, you know. He was running around the octagon after all that. It was obviously adrenaline pumping, you know. It was crazy. That was literally one of the craziest UFC fights I've seen in a while. Yuri, he had the fight in the bag. He would have brought the title back to Czech Republic, but man, he couldn't do it. And Carlos Ulberg brings the belt to New Zealand. I'm at a loss for words. I was at a loss for words last night watching it. He had the fight in the bag, and he fumbled it. It's annoying, but congrats to Carlos Ulberg. It was a great UFC event. In all, I give the card about an 8 out of 10. You know, besides the Johnny Walker fight, the whole card was full of bangers. You know, there was finishes everywhere. You know, I'll go over the prelims quickly. Aaron Pico won a decision. I was right about that. Tatiana Suarez submitted Lupe Godinez. I was right with Tatiana Suarez. Chris Padilla fight was a draw. Weird. Kevin Holland, I didn't say he didn't finish him, but yeah, it is what it is. I was wrong about Esteban Ribovics pretty badly. And I guess Mateus Gamrot does have submission game now. I mean, I think that the perfect fight would be Mateus Gamrot versus Renato Moicano. If they book that, that would be perfect. Man, Yuri Prochazka, dude. He had the fight in the bag. Sold it. Carlos Ulberg, congrats to him. You know, I like Ulberg. I always did, but you know what? I was rooting for Yuri. I'm not going to lie. I'm still a little pissed, but I'm happy for Ulberg. You know, Ulberg did... Yuri lost by being a good human. That's also something I saw today when I was scrolling on Twitter and on Instagram. I saw people saying Yuri literally lost by being a good human, wanting to fight and let the fight go to the bell instead of spamming leg kicks and winning by leg kick TKO. So I do got to give Yuri some props for that. He's calling for a rematch, but Carlos Ulberg is going to be out for a while. But we got to see. This light heavyweight division and heavyweight division just turned from boop to bam in the matter of one event. So UFC 327 in the books.